By his decree, we return you to the sands. This is wrong. The gods would not wish for this. But there must be another way. Where?
No, this must be done.
He dug her grave the moment she looked at him.
An eternity ago, I was met with a rebellious member of the family. I believe they were responding to my challenges, as I no longer had believed in the tall structures that they worshipped. They had tried trapping me inside the ground, hoping my chatter will slow, that I will rot away and die. For they cannot possibly understand.
We gather here today.
When I first heard his voice, it was but a small whisper, a trick of the mind I had believed. I had dismissed it foolishly at first, believing it to be emotional impulses mixed with age. But it continuously persisted, growing more beautiful. The whispers were not coherent, as the feeling was more powerful than mere mortal speech. It was clear and full of promise. I would spend many nights without rest speaking to the small voices, embracing the unique sensitivity. The intention was clear. If I were to serve, I would be gifted wholeness, absolutely completeness. To escape my boring reality, I eagerly accepted this offer. The mere second I had welcomed the offer, everything screamed. The world had turned. Everything was nothing, and everything was color without color. And pain so grand, it was like being torn apart and set on fire. Memories were washed, identities confused. The hidden emotions and thoughts become my dominant, my everything. And then came the overwhelming sense of him, as if my insides were cleaned away of all things imperfect and filled with something so much more, like filling a cup with purified water, overflowing and overwhelming. It was so much. When it was done, I had awakened to new senses. I could see through his eyes, and now understood more than I ever could have as a meekly mortal. I distinctly remember, though, a small voice, one that was not his, screaming, confused, in small seeds of doubt. His presence, however, had silenced the voice over time. His whispers were no longer present, and instead, the overcoming need of fulfillment entered my ever need and desire. The intention was clearer than before. He wanted to spread his perfection, to increase and cleanse, to awaken God. I had spent much time following his bidding, gifting him with sacrifices. I forget the faces of those I had been with before my cleansing. Perhaps I had given them to him. I am not sure. I do not believe I possess the ability to care. I embraced the greatness that is him. For every sacrifice that was given, Master would be that much more awake and his power that much stronger. And then the time had come. The time when God walked the universe. When I had finished the final sacrifices, the existence held its breath for His Majesty. The planet's weather parted for him. The air itself turned cold. Energy was everywhere, brimming to consume. And then, all was silent. There he was. The god was grander than I had imagined. For the form he has chosen was tall, 6'5", with quills decorating his already enormous figure. The deity had worn no restrictions such as clothing, and bare naked at his altar. His hands and feet, which closely resembled that of a human mortal, were adorned with longer nails. Gracious, large chest hair moved on its own, encircling his tan muzzle. And then, he opened his eyes. Cyan, bright light orbs focusing on nothing. The eyes themselves had glowed more brightly than my own. The cyan eyes interrupted by a slim snake-like pupil. The pupil itself was almost lost in the bright beauty of his eyes. It seemed that the eyes themselves sparkled on its own. It was like looking to a moving, bright star. I was overcome with joy. My savior, my everything, had finally risen. His thoughts were closed from me now, and it only caused me to be more anxious in his presence. Without his presence inside of me, I felt empty. I needed God to help me feel whole and complete. And then I made a terrible mistake. Instead of staying down on my knees, I had run to embrace God. He did not seem to know I was even in the room, for the moment I touched him, darkness, empty, vomit-inducing, scattered, shattered, so much. It was too much, but it was not enough. It was not enough. Everything needed to be fixed, but it was not enough. Consume, absorb, deplete, devour, dominate, be one. All needs to be one. Needs to be nothing. Boredom needs to be. And then before I realized, I was on the ground. I was shaking. It was so much. I felt like I would dissipate into non-existence at any moment, turning into particles, becoming the nothing that is the vacuum of space. A voice rings.
Do not touch Your god!
It was booming, and every word caused more and more pain. I screamed, begging for mercy. For him, his mere slight annoyance was enough to destroy me. I could feel it. I could feel everything of me being torn apart all over again. I looked at my hand once my vision started clearing. My symbol had changed. A mark that crawled on my arm. It burned like 1,000 stars, immeasurable amounts of pain and energy channeled through this symbol. It was just at this moment I had realized the point of this symbol. It was to brand me. Brand what is his. God had disappeared long after I realized this. Now that God was active, I could feel him everywhere and nowhere. He had started devouring the limitless dimensions. His overwhelming empty boredom threatened to consume me once more. But nothing had come close to the emptiness that had grown much worse the moment I dared make contact with God's skin. As punishment, God had abandoned me. Abandoned and empty. Master had left me.